Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning for another episode of Outrunning the Cost of Living. Today, we're going to be discussing when even good jobs are not enough. When you have a good job, but you still can't afford housing. And that is something that's going on across the country here in the United States. We're going to be pointing out a video that's talking about the Los Angeles area. And it's just you know, Los Angeles, California is expensive. We all kind of know that. But over the last several years since COVID, when housing prices kind of went up 20+% or darn near 20+% for a couple years across the country, for the most part, it's made housing a crisis almost in every area of the country. So we're just going to point out this video in Los Angeles, but don't be confused and think this is only happening in California or only happening in New York. This is happening all across the country, blue and red states. It does not matter. It's a housing crisis. And even if you have a good job, or at least what is traditionally considered a good job, you're still struggling. If you didn't have housing before the COVID uprun, or the COVID um, period, and prices ran up a ton, then you are most likely looking in from being out, right? And that's just the truth of it. So many people in this country are not able to purchase housing because it's just way out of reach at this point. So we have to figure out ways to outrun the cost of living. And here at Dorian Trader, we believe that's learning how to take monies from the markets through using strategies, option strategies, and we'll be discussing that later. But before we do that, just want to provide a little background on who I am. If you're new to Dorian Trader, my name is O'Brien, and I have been trading the markets since I was a senior in high school. I got introduced to the markets by an economics teacher, and that economics teacher was phenomenal. He had us follow stocks from the newspaper back then when it was still in fractions. He had us work in groups and compete, and he had us work individually and compete in the class to see who can pick the best stocks. He showed us the first Wall Street movie with Michael Douglas. And from those events and maybe a few others, I was hooked on the markets and knew I wanted to play some significant role in the markets moving forward. So if you fast forward several years, I eventually became a registered investment advisor. I held a license 65 for registered investment advisors. Excuse me. I also held the license 3 for commodity pool operators. I needed those two different licenses to be able to run a volatility hedge fund that I did for a decade. I'm now the CEO of Dorian Trader, which is an options mentoring firm that specializes in teaching individuals how to trade options. We'll talk about Dorian Trader a little bit later. But as I mentioned, I want to bring over a video and kind of play the video, and then we'll dissect it and then talk about how we can outrun the cost of living through an option strategy. All right, so let's do that now. 1 second here, everyone. And all right, so let's bring this over and let's hit play, and it's rock and roll.
It's 4 p.m. and Carrie Walker is getting ready for her night shift as a nurse.
With the food, please. This is dinner for the children before I go. I'll give them some McDonald's because when I go to work, sometimes I don't come back. What did you order?
Cheeseburger.
Every workday, she faces a grueling 120-kilometer commute each way.
To fill up my tank is $100, and that is almost half a tank when I get to work. It's already almost half a tank. So that'll be almost $100 every day, every other day. I can't really afford that. I'm going to work now.
To limit costs, Carrie doesn't always come home after her shift.
I'll pack my blanket. Extra uniform is in here. Any food and snacks are in here.
In her absence, her 15-year-old daughter will have to watch over her younger siblings, sometimes with the help of their grandparents.
Come here, Desmond, give me a hug goodbye. Demetrius, give me a hug goodbye. I'm going now.
Bye, Mom. Love you.
Love you too.
Carrie and her family were priced out of Los Angeles 9 years ago. They moved to the desert city of Lancaster, where home prices are 50% lower.
With my salary, I couldn't afford it, I believe. I make between $70,000 and $80,000 a year. The mortgage prices, the home prices, are $3,000 and up. I'm not bringing home that kind of money.
On a good day, the drive to work takes 90 minutes.
It means you have to leave a lot earlier. So it cuts your sleep short, cuts your family time short. I think that most of us nurses would like to live where we serve.
Getting a job closer to home would mean losing her seniority and making even less money.
Whew. Safe and sound. Long drive.
Carrie will now work a 12-and-a-half-hour overnight shift. She still doesn't know where she'll sleep after that, in her car or with a family member. Across the country, essential workers are being forced out of the neighborhoods they work in. On average, U.S. home prices have doubled over the past 25 years, even quadrupled in cities like Los Angeles. Shannon Reed is a real estate agent who has seen that change firsthand in Highland Park, an area near downtown.
This is a house we have on the market right now. Our seller bought it in the early 2000s for I think $328,000, and we are in contract for $1.6 million right now.
The massive surge in prices is the result of a chronic housing shortage. A report by White House economists released just weeks ago estimates the United States is missing 10 million homes needed to meet demand.
It used to be a place where everybody could sort of achieve the American dream of home ownership, and that is sad to me. Knowing my own child's teachers don't live in the neighborhood because they can't afford it and they have a long commute to work.
Authorities are well aware of the problem. The city's school district has begun converting some of the land it owns into affordable housing for some of its employees.
Hello, come on in.
Henry Argueta is a special education assistant. Before living here, he was spending almost half of his salary on a studio apartment in a rough neighborhood.
It was very terrible for me. It was horrifying, in fact. There was a heater, but there was no air conditioning. There was people doing drugs, and it was just horrible. I couldn't wait to get out of there.
Today, Henry pays $1,500 for a one-bedroom apartment in the heart of Hollywood, over $1,000 below the market rate.
I like the view looking out the window. And I just love Hollywood. I really do, and everything's so close by. Some of my coworkers actually came here and they were just like, wow, this is great for the price you're paying. And I encourage them to just keep looking at their emails and see if there's going to be some more buildings available.
But demand far outstrips supply. The district's chief facilities executive oversees the initiative and says interest has been overwhelming.
There's 66 units and we have over 900 people on the waiting list, which just shows how much interest there is in projects like this. We've been successful with the 3 projects that we have. We think we can replicate it, and that's why we're doing another 4 hopefully parcels that we'll be able to develop as well.
A recent survey has found nearly half of the school district's employees are considering leaving their job due to high housing costs. Some believe the answer will come in the form of help from the private sector. In the Baldwin Hills neighborhood of Los Angeles, construction is underway on a first-of-its-kind project in the U.S., 800 apartments built directly above a Costco supermarket. 200 of those will be earmarked for low-income residents, all without a single dollar of government subsidy. A sign that solving America's housing crisis will likely require thinking well outside the box.
Well, I'll tell you, from utilities to groceries to gas, people are really...
All right, so let's move on and let's break this down a little bit, you guys. Now, this is an issue, as I was indicating earlier, that is going on across the country. It's not just in Los Angeles. In the past, we considered a nursing job as a good job that you should be able to afford a um, afford a house in, in a decent location, a decent area. But it's become clear across the country that having a job that pays you even $100,000 a year is just not enough anymore. So many different kind of things that's going across YouTube. I know we've done several of them that you can be struggling making $140,000 in this country now, especially if you have kids, 2 kids or so. It can be very, very challenging. You can feel like you're just barely getting by. So things have to be different, right? It's trade-offs, it's costs that have to be considered. I know that when I lived in San Diego, I'm talking about years ago, before I even started my first business, I worked for a company in San Diego, and I had a friend that had to purchase a house in Temecula, which is, I just say it's about an hour and a half or so away from San Diego, from away from downtown San Diego, and he had to commute every day. And this is, guys, this is way back in, man, this has got to be the early 2000s, and that this was the case. And it's just amazing how things have, continued to be so expensive. And in the past, it was just in areas like California and, maybe beach areas, definitely New York. But now it's across the country, and things have to be done to be able to change the narrative, change the situation. And if you're waiting on government housing, or if you're waiting on the private sector to come up with something that is affordable, I think you're going to be waiting forever, right? You're going to be literally waiting forever, because it's just not going to happen. This has not been a problem that is new. This has been a problem for years now. As I just mentioned, this has been at least a certain parts of the country. It's been the problem for over 20 years, and it seems to be only getting worse. So you have to figure out things to help you outpace this cost of living. And the lady, the nurse in the video was talking about, she would have to pay, say $100 for gas every 2 days or something like that. And so sometimes she has to stay at work, for several days or something such as that, so that she can afford to actually get to work, right? And and so this morning, what we're going to do is talk about an option solution that can help give, or at least take care of gas prices, at least help you build a bigger safety net so you can help yourself outrun the cost of living. So I'm just going to go over a basic strategy this morning, just a basic strategy. And so, but I want to set the premise here. So here at Dorian Trader, we believe trading indexes is the best and safest way to make consistent income through trading options. Yes, sometimes you can do it on stocks that are high flying, or stocks that you absolutely love, but indexes are not going to go out of business. The NASDAQ index is not going to go out of business. The S&P 500 index is not going to go out of business. So if you can figure out ways to make income off that index, and then it can be something that you can count on consistently. Okay. And so if you had $10,000, you can trade something like the TQQQ. It's going for, on Friday, when the market closed, it was going for just below $78 a share, at 77.80, as you can see here. Right. So that means if you were going to buy 100 shares of it, it's going to cost you about $7,800. Okay. So if you had $10,000, and you wanted to make some extra money off that $10,000. Okay? You can do it on the TQQ, and TQQ is a leveraged ETF. And I don't like leveraged ETFs. The super majority out of them out there are horrible, but it's some superstars. So, for example, the TQQQ is based on the QQQ. This is the Nasdaq 100 index. This has been around for a long time. Well, the TQQ is the three-time leveraged one. It's been around for at least 17 years, and it's outperformed the QQQ over that time frame. It hasn't outperformed it by 3 times, but it's outperformed it darn near 2 times. And that to me is powerful. If it continues to do that, which I believe it will over time, if the market is going up, which is proven that is the case, that's why so many investment advisors advise people to buy and hold, to buy indexes and just forget about it. Yeah, that is a strategy if you want to be average. You don't want to be able to make some income off that monies. But if you take that buy and hold concept and then you marry options to it on something like this TQQQ, you can make yourself or produce yourself an additional income that can help you outrun the cost of living. To give you the power back that you're not depending on the government, you're not depending on some type of handout, you're not depending on some type of miracle, you're not depending on your company giving you some amazing raise that you know is not coming. Learn to take monies from the markets in the safest way you can possibly do. Here at Dorian Trader, we can help you with that, with strategies like the one I'm about to mention. So you have the TQQ, set the stage, set the premise. You have $10,000. You want to make at least $100 a week to be able to supplement your food costs, supplement your gas costs, like the nurse in the video, or whatever the case may be. You know, be able to extend your runway, build a bigger savings, help you be able to feel a little bit more safe. So you can do a weekly strategy. I'm going to use 11 days here because we don't have a 7-day option at this point on this example, but let's use 11 days. You can do a very, very basic strategy that's called a cash secured put. You have $10,000 in cash. That's your collateral. That's what you can use to be able to, what I call, sell a option to someone that pays you money. And if that option becomes a bad situation, and maybe I shouldn't use the word bad, just I don't want to use option terminology in this video too much, but it's something that's called assigned. Okay? Something that's called assigned. You assign the shares. But that's okay because then you buy and hold, and then you can do some other type of strategy called a covered call to rent out your shares, just like a house. But doing a cash secured put on an index that you're okay with owning into perpetuity can be a very, very conservative strategy, if not the most conservative strategy out there, period. It's better than buy and hold. So for example here, if I sold this 70 strike put, to show you this, if I sold this 70 strike put, when you sell a put, you are receiving monies into your account instantaneously. Someone's paying you monies to sell them an option. In this case, $107. When you sell a put, you have what is called an obligation to purchase the shares at the strike price. So the strike price in this case is 70. The stock right now is currently trading, or was on Friday, trading at just below $78 a share. I said you just needed 10,000. We're not going to use 10,000 here, but I'm setting the stage, setting the premise here. So the worst case scenario is that you're going to have to buy these shares at this strike price of 70 with a break even or cost basis of break even and cost basis, the same thing, of about $6,893. So technically, at expiration, if it's above $68.93, if the price is above that, you still win something. If it's above the 70 strike here at expiration, you're going to win the entire $170, not including fees and commissions. So the worst case scenario is that you're going to have to take ownership of these shares. It's not going to go to zero. And then you can hold it until it comes back. It always comes back. The index has always come back. That's been the history. And you can count on that happening in the future unless other bigger issues have occurred. But we can teach you not just to hold the shares, but to make money on those shares. But first, you have to learn this basic strategy of selling the cash secured put, collecting $100 a week. That's $400 a month. In the case of the nurse in the video, that will allow her to come home on a daily basis, to be able to see her kids on a daily basis. I know her drive is an hour and a half. I told you about my friend years ago in the early 2000s had to do that. It can be done. Sometimes you have to do hard things to be able to move forward. But you have to think smart. You have to think smart. You have to think, how can I leverage what I currently have to produce more? If you had as little as $10,000, technically, in this example here, as little as $7,000, you can produce a weekly income that can help you in a significant way. Obviously, this is levels to this game. This is a linear game. The more money you have, obviously, the more money you can make off it. So if you had 20,000, now it's $200 a week. And you just think about it as it scales. And you have that ability to buy and hold. Guys, here at Dorian Trader, we're going to teach you strategies that are safe as possible to be able to help you generate an income that you can count on. So we're time constraints. This is a 30-minute program, so I can't go into significant details about this strategy, but try to introduce it to you here. But if you're interested in learning more, we encourage you to join Dorian Trader. You can join us by clicking on the link in the description area, and you can get a $60 flat amount trial period for 3 months. After the 3 months, you go to our regular discounted price of $125, but you can try us out for $60, a flat $60 for 3 months. And we'll help you on a consistent, regular basis take monies from these markets by doing strategies very similar to what we just demonstrated. Help you understand the process. Regardless if you're brand new and this is the first time you've ever heard of an option, we can darn near hold your hand through the entire process if that is what you need. We want you to be successful. This is our way of being able to make a difference. It's helping people learn how to trade options to be able to at least supplement their income in a meaningful way. If they got bigger aspirations, we can help them be a full-time trader. So, some of the key takeaways. Number one is that this cost of living issue, at least when it comes to housing, is not a new issue here in this country. The government, if they're going to help, which they're not, they would have been able to figure this situation out already. This has been going on for years, you guys, in parts of this country. Now it's going on across almost the entire country. No one's going to come and help you. You're going to have to help yourself. Number two takeaway is that having a good job is not necessarily and most likely not going to be enough anymore. It's not going to be enough anymore. Yeah, I consider a nurse job a good job. That's probably going to be a job that's going to be around for a long time until we get robots or something to be able to be nurses. And maybe that's not, 50 years away, but I don't think it's 10 years away. But if it is 10 years away, you need to be preparing yourself now. Because if you think someone's going to come and save you some white knight, you're being disingenuous to yourself. Learn a skill that can never be taken away. Even with AI, even with technology, it's only going to be more important to learn how to take monies from the markets. Let us help you do that. Sign up with us. Use the link in the description area. With that said, we thank you for watching us and joining us in this Monday morning for another episode of Outrunning the Cost of Living. If you ever have any questions, you can email support, or if you have any comments, you can put it in the comment area. We answer all comments. But for now, and enjoy your Memorial Day, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.